Well, that escalated quickly. Things sure got out of hand fast. Tough one last night for the Brewers. Sit down. Let's talk about it. You're Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, June 8th. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Brewers listeners can get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This is a podcast-exclusive offer, and it includes engagement rings. Don't wait. Use code LOCKEDON at checkout. I'm the statistician for Bally Sports Wisconsin, bringing you all the news, notes, and nuggets you want to know about your Brew Crew this season. And let's jump right in, man. Josh Hader blows his first save of the season. He was 18 for 18. He had gone the last 32 consecutive saves. He was trying to break the record set by Ryan Presley of most consecutive scoreless outings by a reliever. He had gone 40 straight without allowing a run over his last 38 innings. And then in the top of the ninth inning, Alec Bohm and Matt Vierling coming off the bench, mind you, both go yard for solo homers, blow the save. The Brewers fall by a final of 3-2. We've been saying throughout the beginning of spring, throughout the beginning of this season, enjoy every second of Josh Hader. This is the first blown save of the year. And as we've told you a million times over, other pitchers blow saves. Most pitchers blow saves. It happens all the time. He still is tied for the league lead in saves with 18 with Taylor Rogers. Taylor Rogers, mind you, has actually blown 3 saves this year. So Liam Hendricks next in line. He's with the Chicago White Sox. He's blown 3 saves this year. It happens. He's human. This game is built on failure. And his comments after the game, he spoke to reporters afterwards. He owned it. He thought the fastball up to Bohm wasn't the spot that he wanted it. He knows that Alec Bohm is a high ball hitter. And as for the slider to Vierling, it wasn't a bad pitch, but Hader actually made the observation, he says in his post-game availability, that he noticed that Vierling might have stepped up in the box, and that's why it wasn't that bad of a slider. And Vierling was able to get the bad head out in front of it and yank one out of there for a home run. For Matt Vierling, that's his 3rd career home run ever, his second one as a pinch hitter. He was in the spot hitting for Mickey Moniak there in the 9-hole, and Vierling goes yard off of Josh Hader to end up getting the go-ahead RBI in the top of the 9th inning, and the Phillies win. They are white hot. They've won 5 in a row. Joe Girardi is obviously gone. They win another game in epic fashion off of a great closer. Remember, they beat Raisel Iglesias on Sunday of the Angels, and they lead to Joe Madden getting fired, of course, yesterday. And now they tag Josh Hader in the span of a couple of days. What a stretch right now for the Phillies as they get things back on track right now. The Brewers are catching them at a really tough time given they're not healthy. They have now lost 4 games in a row for the first time this season. And for the Phillies, they're hot. This is going to be a tough series. You got 2 more games with them. You got today and you got tomorrow. Adrian Hauser getting the ball here today. He'll be going up against Aaron Nola in this one. Nola's 3-4, 3.92 ERA, not quite the Cy Young candidate year like he had last year. Adrian Hauser's 3-5, a 3.51 ERA. Corbin Burns will close it out tomorrow with Zach Eflin going opposite him in tomorrow's day game. But let's just start with Hader. I mean, all the records are obviously gone. I'm very, very, I guess the word is shocked is the easy way to say it, but the air that was let out of the balloon, or I should say the keg, there at American Family Field was shocking. I mean, as soon as Bohm hit it, you knew it was gone. It was a no-doubter, no cheapie, crushed. And Jeff Levering made the great observation that remember when the Brewers ended their series in Philadelphia in that Sunday night baseball game that Eric Lauer shoved, a 1-0 game. Alec Bohm was the last batter of that game against Josh Hader. And he torched one the other way that was caught on the warning track at Citizens Bank Ballpark up in Philly. So already that one swing, sure it didn't leave the yard, gave Bohm a little bit of confidence perhaps against an elite closer like Josh Hader. And there we see him with a high ball and a 1-1 pitch, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at the letters. See ya. 426 feet later, it is out of here, 105 miles an hour off the bat for Alec Bohm. What a roller coaster of a year it's been for him with the whole, I bleeping hate this place earlier after the errors. Then Philly rallies around him after he owns the error. He's been great as the young third baseman for the Phillies. And in this contest, there was a lot of traffic for the Phillies. They couldn't get the big hit. They went just 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position in this game. They had leadoff man on a majority of the innings. The only guy who didn't reach base for the Phillies were Bryson Stott and JT Realmuto. Everybody else reached base. So they had their opportunities. It just took until the 9th of all people against Josh Hader to get things done. And the Brewers had an opportunity in the bottom of the 9th. More on that in a little bit. We're going to talk about the overarching numbers of this. But if you want to sit here and be mad at Josh Hader, first blown save of the year, first loss of the year, first runs allowed this year, I'm not going to let you. This dude is an elite all-star closer, okay? It's his first blown save in the regular season in 11 months. It happens, okay? No one's going to be mad at you at that. The reason why the Brewers lost this game yesterday is they weren't able to get their sustained offense. While we talk about the Phillies having opportunities, getting runners into scoring position, they left 8 runners on base. The Brewers only had 4 plate appearances with runners in scoring position. 6 plate appearances with runners in scoring position. 4 of them were at bats. They went 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position. It wasn't the fact that Josh Hader, yes, as frustrating as it was, finally lost control there of the 9th inning, giving up 2 solo homers. The Brewers had multiple opportunities to add on, and they couldn't do it. And they haven't been able to add on as of late, as again, we talk about the injuries. So some of the good news is that you did get Hunter Renfroe back in this game, but the rust is still coming off for him. He went 0 for 4 with a pair of strikeouts, swung at a couple of bad pitches that he would not normally have swung and missed on, and man, he just missed hit walking it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. We're going to talk about the bottom of the 9th and that chaos, but let's get to some injury news here first before we recap the bottom of the 9th inning. First and foremost, Renfroe is back, but at the expense of Trevor Gott going on the injured list. He injured that on Sunday, and the Brewers knew that he wasn't going to be available for this series, so they said, hey, you need to make sure you get a fresh arm out there in the bullpen right now. So they went ahead and put Trevor Gott on the IL with a groin injury. So that was the corresponding move to put Renfroe back on the roster. Remember, we talked about it on Monday, that it would maybe be a Trevor Kelly going down, or somebody else in the bullpen, but now they need to stay because they need arms out of that back half of the pen. The other news out of yesterday is we're expecting Willie Adames to return yesterday. He did not. Craig Counsell said they wanted to get one more good day out of him. He made it through pregame and batting practice A-OK. The lineup card actually came out very late yesterday. It was during Brewers batting practice when the lineup card finally came out. And the determination was they just wanted to give Willie one more day. Because in the back of their minds, they know how much Willie's going to be needed. He's going to be playing almost every day as much as you can. Granted, it was very encouraging to see Luis Urias make a couple of nice plays at short in yesterday's game to remind you that he can make the plays, he can handle the position in Willie's absence. But another infielder hurt, I should say. So Colton Wong exits this game after getting clipped in the calf by JT Realmuto, and it wasn't a bad clip. It wasn't a dangerous play or anything like that. It was just a guy running in hard to second base on a bang-bang play that Luis Urias made a great diving stop, got up and fired to second as quickly as he could with Wong covering. They got him by a half of a step, but you saw Wong immediately kind of skip and hobble his way off the field and get back to the dugout. And Valley Sports Wisconsin showed a shot of him in the tunnel throwing a bat frustrated after talking to Craig Counsell. The reveal on that is that he's day-to-day with calf discomfort, and it's something he's been dealing with for a little bit. Remember in the doubleheader against the Cubs in that series, he got hit right on the leg in one of those games, and he didn't play the next 2 days. Then he returns and plays okay, but he's been dealing with a ginger calf so far as of late, and it sounds like that Castellanos slide on the grounder by Realmuto aggravated it, and it hurt him, and he had to exit the game. So Keston Hiura had to come in, and naturally the ball finds you when you become a defensive replacement. He makes a throwing error on the first ground ball that he faces to lead off the top of the 4th inning from Didi Gregorius. Granted, it didn't end up biting the Brewers, but that was just it felt like when it rains, it pours, like it's raining here today, here on this Wednesday. But it was just, man, I tweeted this. They can't have nice things. But if you want to jump ship now, if you want to abandon ship now, no, you don't do that in June 8th. There is so much baseball to be played. It sucks because in the micro, and we've talked about this all season long, when you watch every single game, live and die with every single pitch, we love you. It's great. Being a fan of your team is a beautiful thing. But if you live and die and overreact on every single pitch, every single outing, Josh Hader blows a save, Colton Wong gets injured. It's over. It's over. Can't be done. It's over. Brewers are cursing. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's June 8th. Take a deep breath. Everything's going to be A-okay. They are still their first 4-game losing streak. Given how bad it's been sometimes. Yes, they've lost now 5 of their last 6. The offense comes and goes. We could talk about Christian Yelich here in a sec, too. Don't panic. You're going to hit low points in a season. You're just in one of those ruts right now. And then in a month, when they're suddenly winning 8-9 games in a row, or they've won 12 of their last 15 or something like that, remember this moment, okay? You hit ruts in baseball seasons. Take a quick breather. I want to tell you about BetOnline.net. It's your number one source for all your sports betting, stats, and information. You can find odds, news, of course, basketball playoffs. We're in the finals right now. Game 3 coming up. NHL conference playoffs are happening right now. Fights, MMA, boxing, UFC, whatever it may be, you've got it all available at BetOnline, your continued source for everything, including live betting, esports, and more. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and get in on the action at BetOnline, where the game starts. That 9th inning was wild. I was just burning through the Post-it notes of walk-off scenarios with Corey Knebel coming into the game, and as soon as Andrew Mccutchen got that leadoff walk, boom, you were thinking, all right, here we go. Brewers down by a run. You've got good speed on the bases as your tying run. You've got power coming up with Renfroe and Tellez going up against Knebel. And, man, they made Knebel work. If there's any consolation, Knebel's not going to be available tonight after throwing as many pitches as he threw. Knebel threw a total of 32 pitches. Only 17 of them were strikes. So after the leadoff walk to McCutchen, Renfroe just misses one and flies out to straightaway center. Then Rowdy Tellez just misses one and flies out to center field again. So there's 2 outs, a man on first, and Victor Caratini works a 5-pitch walk, 3 consecutive out of the zone, takes an easy strike down the middle, then ends up walking him. So now you're like, okay, base hits all you need, and on-base Jace is coming up. So he came in as a defensive replacement for Keston Hiura earlier in the game, which I want to take a quick aside here real quickly. The fact that the Brewers are facing a lefty, and again, that's been a tough ask for the Brewers this season, but you still had Christian Yelich starting. You still had Rowdy Tellez starting. Obviously, they're everyday players. Jace Peterson has been very important for the Brewers. He's been hot as of late. And you know the splits for Keston Hiura. They're reverse splits. Why did Keston Hiura be the first man off the bench to go play second base when you knew you were going to defensively replace him later in the game with Jace Peterson just because a lefty wasn't going to be in the game as the starter? You know the reverse splits. Keston does not hit lefties well at all, and he goes 0 for 2. I would have put Jace in first and then give you the opportunity, as opposed to after Jace Peterson walks, to load the bases, as opposed to Pablo Reyes coming up, have Keston Hiura come up. A guy who's already had a walk-off this year, has faced a lot more major league pitching than Pablo Reyes has this year, and also has had louder contact. Yes, he strikes out a lot. And am I saying Keston Hiura would have got the big hit? No. Do I think he would have given the Brewers a better chance? Yes. But because he came in defensively first, as opposed to Jace Peterson in the 4th inning, replacing Colton Wong, you didn't give yourself that opportunity. You had emptied the bench because you had Lorenzo Cain running for Caratini as the winning run after that walk. That's the thought that I had as Pablo Reyes struck out on 3 pitches against Knebel. What an at-bat for Jace Peterson, too, by the way, right before that. A 9-pitch walk. He continues to see the ball well, and with Willie Adames coming back, and now Colton Wong being day-to-day, Jace is going to keep on playing. So I would imagine today, Willie Adames will be at short. Luis Urias will be at second, and Jace Peterson will be at third. You're also facing righties today and tomorrow, so Jace will be in the starting lineup as opposed to Keston. And Jace continues to show his worth, and the depth of this team, when healthy, is pretty darn good. They're also missing Mike Brasso right now. Don't forget about Mike. I saw a tweet asking, is Terrain going to come up now with Wong going on the injured list? No, they're just waiting for Brasso to get healthy. Adames comes back here today. Urias can slide over to second base. Peterson will play third. And then when Brasso comes back, he and Peterson would platoon at third if Wong were to miss extended time. Numbers this year for Jace. .230 average, but don't let that sell you short. He's been getting on base. He has 15 walks this year, which is actually down, a walk rate that's down this year. He's been slugging a little bit more this season, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 5 home runs. He had 6 homers all of last season in 260 or so plate appearances. He's only a little less than halfway there. He's at 122 plate appearances right now. Jace has been a very important bench bat for the Brewers and defensive versatility, and he's played great defense all season long. That's why I would have gone to him first. You really felt like the Brewers were going to get things done there in that 9th inning, but they did not. And let's talk about Yelich real quick here. On Monday's podcast, I said it's time to move him down the order, and I also disclaimed that, saying, look, they're not going to do it, but in my opinion, it was time. I want to give kudos to Christian Yelich. It's just one game, but he had an approach in yesterday's game. All 4 of his at-bats consciously going the other way. All 4 of them trying to beat the shift that the Phillies were giving him. 2 singles the other way. He also had the fly out to left and the ground out to short. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. He also, that second single he hit was 111.6 miles an hour off the bat, and it was a line drive. It wasn't a ground ball. We've talked about hard hit rates getting skewed sometimes by ground balls, because ground balls tend to be hit harder than line drives and fly balls. Doesn't mean that it's not a bad thing. His barrel rate has still been very, very good. That's when you actually hit line drives and deep fly balls. So the fact that we finally saw a near barrel again, getting a ball a little more elevated while hitting it well, encouraging. Not saying, go run to Illinois and put down money on Christian Yelich to get things going again. But I like that we saw him go the opposite field in all 4 of his plate appearances in yesterday's game. Andrew Mccutchen is back. He goes 2 for 3. He's got 5 hits in his last 7 at-bats now. He's starting to click back into gear. He also had an RBI double. It scored Yelich. Yelich scored both runs for the Brewers in this contest as the offense just gets 7 hits. But yet, despite facing a lefty, 4 of them came left on left. 2 by Yelich and 2 by Tellez. And how about the hustle double by Rowdy Tellez earlier in that game? Big man was moving. 26 feet per second almost. His second best home to second time this season for big man Rowdy Tellez. Am I worried about the offense? Yes, because we've talked about the lack and the feast or famine with the home runs. And again, no homers. They've only hit 3 homers over their last 6 games, 2 of them coming on Sunday by Colton Wong. If this team isn't able to manufacture runs and get the big hit and get traffic on base, get multiple runners on per inning, they only struck out 3 times in this game, they only struck out 7 times in this game. They only walked 3 times in this game, and all 3 walks were in the 9th inning. They need to get base runners. If they're not going to get homers, if they're not going to be able to elevate and hit home runs, they need to get base runners and try to create some offense that way. How about Pablo Reyes dropping down a bunt, shocking the world? They didn't move him over. When the 9-hole hitter gets on, you got to at least move him over. Urias strikes out. Taylor flies out. Yelich flies out. Inning over. You got to at least move the guy over. So that's my little soapbox about the offense. Tough go of it there. Let's talk about tomorrow's matchup and also tell you about the good stuff from yesterday's game in just a moment. To tell you about Blue Nile, our presenting sponsor today. If you're getting ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone coming up, you can find jewelry as unique as her with a modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Blue Nile, Nile like the river.com. Look, they have simple online tools that will help you choose the diamond shape, size, clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcraft her perfect engagement ring, and each ring is one of a kind, and you can help create and build the engagement ring of her dreams. You can't mess this up, guys. Blue Nile gives you all the tools you need, and they have the support that you want as well. Experts are on hand 24/7 via chat or over the phone, they can help you find a memorable gift on any budget. Again, BlueNile.com. The promo code is locked on, like you heard earlier. $50 off any purchase of $500 or more. This is a podcast exclusive, and it does include engagement rings. So when it arrives, it'll be shipped for free. It's insured, and it arrives in discreet packaging. Shop stress-free and find your forever peace. Go to BlueNile.com today. We're also brought to you by Athletic Greens. You've heard me talk about Athletic Greens so much. Literally taking it every single day, obviously with the caddy world that I'm in right now. Started taking it for that added boost, that added bit of energy. I grab my water, I grab my coffee, and I grab my Athletic Greens. It is so easy to incorporate 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source superfoods. They got probiotics in there. They got adaptogens in there. Everything that you would want to start your day with in just one glass of water, one scoop, one glass of water. So simple. And it's less than $3 a day. You're spending less than you would be going if you're going to Starbucks, if you're going to get coffee every single morning. Athletic Greens give you so many more benefits health-wise to get you ready for the day. Over 7,000 five-star reviews. They've been recommended by professional athletes. And it was created when the founder actually was experiencing a ton of gut health issues. And Athletic Greens can certainly help with that as well. He started doing a whole supplement routine, trying to get back on track, and it was over $100 a day. Don't worry about that. You can take control of your health now and your immune system with daily nutrition from AG1. To make it easy, they're going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit athleticgreens.com/MLB Network. Again, athleticgreens.com/MLB Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. The good stuff from yesterday's game, before Hader, the bullpen was dynamite. And also, Jason Alexander turns in a solid return in his first home game as a Brewer. 5 innings, 7 hits, dealt with traffic all night. 1 run, it was earned, 2 walks, and only 1 strikeout. He's not a strikeout guy, we know that. He gets the key double play turn, 2 double plays turned by the Brewers. The cool one turned by Reyes on the grounder to third, then he threw to second, had the guy tied up. That was a very nice double play turn by the Brewers in that one. And then the key one to end the 5th inning that went around the horn, Reyes to Hira to Tellez. That ended the 5th inning and ended Alexander's day. He, of course, gets a no decision. Solid first 12 innings in the big leagues for Jason Alexander, so congratulations to him. He did his job in yesterday's game. Hobie Milner, he gets his second hold of the year. Allows 1 base runner on a walk. That's it. A pair of strikeouts as well, facing the bottom half of the order that were full of lefties. The matchup that Craig Counsell wanted for Hobie Milner. He did his job, being the bridge to get to 7-8-9. Of course, we're all used to 7-8-9 being automatic, but Josh Hader was not tonight or last night. Brad Boxberger, love me some Boxberger. Another strikeout for him, 3 up, 3 down. Devin Williams, 11 straight scoreless outings now, 3 up, 3 down. He didn't strike out anybody, but that's okay. He got the job done. His 13th hold of the year before giving way for Hader's first blown save of the year. Let's talk about Adrian Hauser now getting the ball here this evening. Hauser will try to get back on track. It's been a weird start to his year. The ERA doesn't tell you everything because his ERA sits at 3.51, which doesn't sound terrible, but his whip is at 1.40. He's allowing base runners. He's had a ton of walks this season, which is the bane of Hauser's existence. He's a ground ball guy. He can get double plays, but if he's allowing free passes and allowing free base runners, it's going to be a bad time for him. 23 walks this season in a total of 51 and a third innings. That's not great. I mean, that's almost 4 walks per 9 innings. And for him, over his last 3 starts, 3 walks against the Padres. That was in the opener of that series on the 2nd. Then he also has had at least 1 walk in every outing this season. He's had multiple walks now in 4 of his last 5 starts, including a 4-walk game that really kind of set him on the schneid against the Reds back on May 11th. That was a game where he allowed 7 runs, but only 3 of them were earned, which is why I say, hey, the ERA doesn't tell you everything. He's allowed the most unearned runs in baseball. That's not his fault, of course, but for a guy that pitches to contact and has not been able to get out of innings obviously without the strikeout, for a guy that needs to have good defense behind him, it's troubling to not have the full-strength defense behind him. Granted, Willie Adames is supposed to be back today, and Arias over at second. should help things with that. The sinker this season, he's throwing at just about the same rate as much as he did a year ago, but opponents are currently hitting 262 off of his sinker, whereas last season they hit just 209 off of him. And the strikeouts, it's been all about the four-seamer. He's been using the four-seamer a little bit more this year. Last year he threw it about 14% of the time, which is splitting hairs, 13-14% of the time. This year, not a huge difference, 19%, so 5 points higher. But the majority of his strikeouts this year have come on the four-seam fastball. He's still averaging 95 miles an hour with that four-seamer. He's got a 22% whiff rate on it too, which is pretty much league average. But for a guy that relies on getting the ball on the ground ball rate this season is actually down. It's only at 48.4, which is solid for most players. It's slightly above league average. But for a guy that had a 61% ground ball rate last year and a 60% ground ball rate in 2020, if he's not getting ground balls, which is what he's supposed to do, he needs to find a way to make that adjustment. So Adrian Hauser getting the ball here today. Again, a 7-10 first pitch coming up against the Phillies, going up against Aaron Nola. And as I sit here live, I just wanted to double check real quick about contact and batted ball profiles for the Phillies when it comes to hitting the ball on the ground. They have not been a team that hits it on the ground all that much in the last couple of seasons. This year, they're toward the bottom half of the pack, 42% ground ball rate as a team. League average is 44%, so they are slightly better than average when it comes to not hitting ground balls. And see if Adrian Hauser can try to shake that facing a few really, really good players. I mean, the top of that lineup is legit. Top of that lineup, Schwarber leading off, Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, Didi Gregorius. That's a pretty darn good lineup. And mind you, Gene Segura's out right now with a fractured finger. So that's more offense that they're leaving on the table right now. And Bryson Stott's had a solid start with the power, not quite with the average so far to his big league career. Mickey Moniak, a former first pick overall, still trying to find his footing in the big leagues. There's power. They didn't really test them defensively in yesterday's game. I wonder when that's going to show its head for the Phillies here coming up. But one quick reminder, Brewers came in ice cold to Philly about a month ago. Remember dropping 2 out of 3 to the Braves and then took the final 2 against the Phillies. Sky's not falling yet. It's going to be okay. All going to be okay. So Hauser going up against Nola, 7-10 tonight. Catch it on Valley Sports Wisconsin. And we'll be right back here tomorrow with a brand new Locked On Brewers. I'm Dominic Cotroneo. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Also, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page. Leave a rating if you're so inclined. Leave a review if you're on Apple Podcasts. We really, really do appreciate it. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, keep on swinging.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.